The first rule of the ocean is that it does not care about your wealth. The second rule is that it will always betray you. I learned both rules on the same night. Aboard the Ophelia, a 200-meter floating palace of white fiberglass and stupid money, the party was a desperate, gilded thing. Champagne flowed, diamonds glittered under the custom lighting, and the laughter was a little too sharp, a little too loud, trying to drown out the howl of the wind that had begun to claw at the windows. My family, the Rosses, were all there. My father, Antonio, holding court, his voice a booming instrument of ego. My mother, Sophia, a beautiful, fragile vase of a woman. My older brother, Lorenzo, and his vapid, social climbing wife. And me, Isabella, the afterthought, the rebellious one. The one who preferred engine grease to caviar, who found more beauty in a well-plotted navigational chart than in a Monet. Isabella, darling, must you wear that? My mother had sighed hours earlier, eyeing my sturdy deck trousers and thick sweater. We have balmain for you in your closet. It's a boat, mother, I'd replied, not looking up from my tablet, where a real-time weather radar showed a swirling, angry mass of red and purple converging on our position. Not a runway, and we need to change course. Now, Lorenzo had laughed, clapping me on the back with a force meant to be condescending. Little Bella and her little weather app. Don't worry, the captain says it's just a squall. The captain was a glorified bartender in a white uniform, hired because he looked the part and knew how to smile for my father's guests. He didn't know a typhoon from a tropical shower, I'd argued, I'd pleaded. I'd shown them the data from the satellite feed I paid for with my own secret company's funds. My father had given me his final, dismissive look. You are embarrassing us, Isabella. Go to your room if you can't be pleasant. So I had stayed on deck, watching the barometer plummet as the sky turned the color of a bruise. The first wave hit not like water, but like a concrete wall. The Ophelia groaned, a sound of profound structural distress. The lights flickered, the music died, replaced by screams. Panic is an ugly, revealing thing. It strips away the polish and shows the rotten core beneath. Another wave, bigger, lifted the stern and slammed it down. A mayday call was sent, the captain's voice trembling. The response was grim. We were in the heart of the storm. No one could reach us. That's when my father gathered them in the main salon, his face ashen but his eyes calculating. The lifeboats, there were only two fully operational, enough for a fraction of the guests and crew. His eyes fell on me, standing in the doorway, drenched but calm. Isabella, he said, his voice cold, devoid of any warmth I had ever foolishly hoped to find in it. You have always been so resourceful. You understand the sea. You can wait here, hold down the fort. We will send help back for you. The words didn't hurt, they crystallized something. They were the final, absolute confirmation of a truth I had felt since childhood. I was expendable. Lorenzo, the air, was shoved into a lifeboat. My mother couldn't meet my eyes as she was handed in. My father gave me one last, long look, not of love or regret, but of appraisal. Was I strong enough to buy them time? They lowered the boats into the raging, black water. I watched them pull away, the beams of their flashlights growing smaller, swallowed by the storm. I was alone on a dying ship. But my father was right about one thing. I am resourceful. I ran, not to the radio, but to the satellite phone I kept in my waterproof gear. I didn't dial a Coast Guard. I dialed a number only 3 people in the world knew. A gruff, steady voice answered, Captain Rossi? Gian, I said, my voice steady, my fear transmuted into pure, cold purpose. It's Bella, the Ophelia is going down. My coordinates are locked, and my family is in the water. There was a pause, then the sound of alarms and shouting in the background. The Titan Mariner is 15 nautical miles from your position, Captain. We are already turning into the storm. She's a tough old girl. She hold full speed, Gian. And Gian. The people in the lifeboats, they are to be brought aboard. But they are to be treated as castaways, not guests, understood, Captain. I stood on the tilting deck, the wind trying to tear me from the ship. In the distance, through the sheets of rain, I saw a new set of lights. Not the bobbing, feeble lights of the lifeboats. These were massive, industrial, unyielding lights. The lights of the Titan Mariner, a 300-meter leviathan of steel and grit, the flagship of my secret, multi-billion-dollar global shipping empire. They had left me to die, but they didn't know they were abandoning me onto my own throne. The Titan Mariner didn't cut through the waves, it bullied them. Its hull, streaked with rust and salt, was a testament to 1,000 storms weathered, 1,000 cargoes delivered. It was real, it was powerful, it was mine. As the Ophelia listed violently, her decks awash, I made my way to the stern and waited. A rescue line shot across the churning water, followed by raft. My crew, my real family men and women with hands like leather and hearts like granite pulled me aboard the Titan. Gian, my first mate, and the closest thing I had to a father, was there, his face grim. The lifeboats are secured, Captain. The castaways are in the main cargo hold for processing. They're cold, scared, and very confused. I stripped off my soaked outer layer, standing in the bridge in my simple, functional clothes. On a hook by the captain's chair was my jacket, thick, oil-stained, and on its epaulets, the 4 gold stripes of a master mariner. Let them be confused, I said, my eyes on the radar status of the Ophelia. She's gone, Bella. Sank 5 minutes ago, I nodded. A chapter of my life, swallowed by the sea. Good riddance. I walk out onto the bridge wing, the storm still raging, but now it felt like a familiar adversary, not a death sentence. Below, on the main deck, under the harsh industrial lights, my family and the other guests huddled together, wrapped in coarse gray blankets. They looked small, insignificant. Lorenzo was the first to see me. He pointed, his mouth agape. My mother looked up, her hand flying to her mouth. My father's eyes widened, then narrowed, the cogs in his brain turning, trying to process the impossible sight of his discarded daughter standing on the command deck of this behemoth, the crew snapping to attention around her. I picked up the internal comms handset. My voice, calm and amplified, echoed across the deck, cutting through the wind. This is Captain Rossi. You are aboard the MV Titan Mariner. You are safe. You will be escorted to temporary quarters. This is a working vessel, not a luxury resort. You will follow crew instructions without question. I saw my father flinch, as if struck. Captain Rossi, I didn't wait for their reaction. I turned and went back into the warm, humming bridge, the heart of my kingdom. An hour later, there was a tentative knock. Gian opened the door. My father stood there, his Armani suit ruined, his hair a mess. He looked old. Isabella, what is the meaning of this? A captain, this rust bucket, I said, not turning from the chart table, has a net worth greater than your entire holding company, father. It's one of 63 in my fleet, Ethelborn Shipping. Perhaps you've heard of it? The color drained from his face. He had, everyone in global trade had. It was the mysterious, ruthlessly efficient company that had been outmaneuvering his own for years. But how? You cut me off. You thought I was wasting my time at Maritime Academy. You thought my dreams of building something real were a joke. I finally turned to face him. So I built it where you couldn't see it. With the first loan I secured by mortgaging the single apartment grandmother left only to me. The apartment you always said was worthless, the realization was a physical blow. He staggered back a step. He had been beaten, outsmarted, and saved by the daughter he left to die. We are your family, he whispered, the words sounding hollow even to him. No, I said, my voice soft but final. You are my cargo, and I always deliver my cargo. You will be dropped at the next port. Until then, you are not to contact the bridge. That is an order. I turned my back on him, listening to the sound of the door closing, followed by the steady, powerful thrum of the ship's engines. The storm outside was beginning to fade. The one inside him was just beginning.